Yeah, it's hard to tell until we start to see it.
I know.
This is a team that's trying to bust through that. Brian Flores, I think, has been a great coach, and I think he's got the potential to become one of the best coaches in football, but they've got to find a way to take the next step. Last year, it felt like they were going to take it. They just fell short of qualifying for that 7-team field in the AFC, and this year they got to get over the top. Let's take a look at their position groups. Look, we know where they are at quarterback. They're going to ride with Tua, we think. Jacoby Brissett, not on the field unless Tua Tagovailoa is injured. But at the running back position, we heard from Myles Gaskin. They have Malcolm Brown, Salvon Ahmed, Jared Dokes, a rookie.
Nothing jumps out. No. It's underwhelming ground. It's almost.
Isn't this what the Patriots have done? Brian Flores comes from New England. It's a revolving door of guys that have a role, and there isn't that stud every down tailback on the roster.
Exactly right. I think that's exactly what it is there. They got a guy like Malcolm Brown who's been around and done that. They'll be able to trust him. The Salvon Ahmed, he did a good job last year, but you're right. I don't think you're ever going to see them stuck with a big money running back there in Miami. It is the New England approach. Wait, this week we want to go outside and run outside zone more. All right, let's use our running back that's good at doing that. This week we're going to run, in between the guards and pull linemen. All right, this running back's better at doing that. This is going to be a pass game week. Yeah, I would think that's kind of the platooning they're going to do there. But I still think it's going to be an important part of their team. I have a hard time thinking Flores, defensive coach, all the assets they've put in to, it's first round, second round offensive linemen all over that offensive line there, to where I would think they're going to run the ball, and it's going to be a major part of how they play overall on a week-to-week basis.
And, when you look beyond the running backs, the receivers, they got some impressive talent.
Yeah.
Now, you got to keep them healthy. Yeah. They added Will Fuller, who's still got to do the back end of a PED suspension and then stay healthy after that. Devontae Parker's been a guy who's been up and down, but lately it feels like more up than down. Jalen Waddle, they pounced on him with the 6th overall pick in the draft. They've got Jakeem Grant, Lynn Bowden, Albert Wilson, who had his moments in Kansas City.
That's right.
Mike Gesicki and Durham Smythe, Hunter Long, a rookie at tight end. They got some decent targets for Tua Tagovailoa. It's not quite the Daniel Jones no excuses crew, but it's close. But it's a pretty good group.
Yeah, agreed. You're right. That's the best way to put it. It's not like no excuses, but you can't look at it anymore and go, oh, man, they need help. But there's issues here. You're right. Devontae Parker, it's 2 years in a row of very high-level play. You just got to stay healthy all the way, like you're talking about. Preston Williams is another guy that, pops for them when he's healthy and does things. Gesicki, you mentioned him. He's really talented. So, yeah, there is weapons. Hey, Matt Collins isn't a bad back-end guy. There's plenty of depth here. I think when you just take Preston Williams, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, that's a pretty impressive 3. And then when William Fuller gets back in the mold, or in the rotation there, whoa. That's 4 guys where you got 2 guys with great size, 2 other guys who can really fly and put pressure on a defense vertically and all those type of things. I think it's, not a top 5 group, but I think it's top half in the league as far as that's concerned for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a group of receivers that will give Tua Tagovailoa opportunities to become the guy that they thought he was going to be when they made him the 5th overall pick in the draft. The offensive line is a key component to whatever they're going to do, run the ball, pass the ball, as it always is, and the better they are, the more they're overlooked unless they're dominant. But for just a good offensive line, you never even pay attention because you're paying attention to the guys running the football and catching the passes. Where do you put their group in relation to everyone else?
Well, it's like a potential group. I think the way is, I look at it right now as far as got like young budding talent to where you kind of saw it coming together at the end of last year. And, that's where you just look at it and go, wow, this is a pretty damn good group across the line there. Get a Matt Skura in there to be a little veteran leader at the center position coming from Baltimore. But I think everything else, wow, what's not to say or like about it? And really, like, Jesse Davis was a guy that we don't have on that graphic there because they drafted Liam Eichenberg in the second round. Jesse Davis was really good for them last year. I would think he's going to start, and Liam Eichenberg is going to be at the guy that's going to have to earn his way there. So their offensive line, like, again, another one, maybe like the receivers, Mike, where you just go, it's not top 5 in football, but it's very talented and top half. And maybe at the end of this year with those young guys and everything like that, it does get into the borderline top 5 conversation. It has that type of potential, and I think that's why you should be excited about that group for sure.
They get their chance right out of the gates to show what they can do against New England week 1. I think they play the Patriots week 1 and week
18. Yeah,
start
18.
The season,
right.
End the season. That week 18, that's harder for me than adjusting 8-8 to 8-9 or 9-8 or 6-11 or whatever else adds up to 17. The front 7 defensively: Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, Emmanuel Ogbah, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jerome Baker, Bernardrick McKinney. Where are they in your estimation relative to the rest of the NFL?
Ooh, the front 7, it's got it all. I mean, for me, the only thing it was missing was a pass rusher, and they got the best pass rusher in the draft in the top 20 picks with Jalen Phillips. They killed it. But there's nothing to look at to where you look at their football team on the front 7. They got versatility, they got size, they got speed, they got everything as far as that's concerned. Another good defensive end in Emmanuel Ogbah who can do everything. You see him there hitting the Bengals quarterback. But I think that Flores has this defensive roster just where he wants it. It's very New England-y, where, oh, wait, we're playing a team this week that likes to do 3 and 4 receivers. All right, we got the secondary to match up, and all these linebackers, we can move them all around and do that. Oh, now this week we're playing the Ravens, and we need to get big and stop the run. Hey, no problem. We got Christian Wilkins, who we drafted in the first round a few years ago, and Raekwon Davis, a second-round pick from 2 years ago at Alabama, where I go, good luck moving those 2 big suckers in the middle. So they got it all. And then got a Bernardrick McKinney in a trade to be their Dante Hightower thumping middle linebacker. That's where I keep coming back to the phrase of, like, the Dolphins of, like, brilliant roster building. Brilliant vision for the team with the coach and the GM of just coming together. And I mean, it just, to me, it's building a masterpiece down here as far as the way the coach coaches and what he wants to go along with it.
Yeah, and it really does feel like a lot of that New England DNA in the division, and the Dolphins trying their damnedest to compete with the Patriots and the Bills and hold off the Jets while they're at it. You mentioned the secondary. Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Justin Coleman, Eric Rowe, Javon Holland, and Jason McCourty just signed recently in free agency. Good enough on the back end?
I mean, special. I think it's special. When you take, Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, their first-round pick from 2 years ago, out of Auburn. I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to get scared to say it. Noah Igbokwe. I need to
that's not
practice
even
it.
close.
Yeah, I know it's not.
That's not even close.
Either way, he did really well. You got them. They drafted a Javon Holland in the second round who, for my money, was one of the 2 or 3 best safeties in the draft. I mean, it's just like the front 7. They got everything you want. Okay, you want to play 4 receivers? Oh, we got 4 DBs. We can match you up, play man-to-man. We can still blitz, do all these crazy things, Oh, we got extra safeties because it's only 2 receivers, and maybe you got some versatile tight ends. There's really not a weakness there that I look at that, that pops out to you. I think the cornerback position's as strong as there is in football as far as a team is concerned. Safety was one you looked at a little bit, but with the drafting of Holland and Eric Rowe back there, it's pretty damn group down there. Pretty damn good group they got down there in Miami.
Your pronunciation of the name was so bad it had the effect on me.
What is it?
No, Igbokwe. It's Igbokwe,
yeah.
But it had the effect temporarily of that little red light in Men in Black where it erases your brain. Like you erased the proper pronunciation from my mind, and I had to regroup.
Look into this little red light. Look over here.
Sorry, Noah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to be disrespectful when I do that. I need practice with names like that sometimes, and then I choke on live TV. So sorry.
All right. So overall, I'm fascinated about what the Dolphins can do. We saw some flashes too.
Yeah.
I really wish, and Brian Flores said this last year. I really wish they would go back to the old uniforms. They are the one team whose alternate uniforms are so much better. Like it's night and day difference between the alternate uniforms and the regular uniforms. And Flores wants the old uniforms, and he's made it clear that this is a Stephen Ross decision. Stephen, if you're listening, and if you are, God, how did you get so successful if you're watching us? But if you're listening, go back to the old uniforms. That one stinks. It stinks. The other one is awesome.
I don't mind. This is the one you like right here,
awesome.
Right? With the gray face mask and all that. I mean, I'm with you. I like that better. The stripes, the gray face mask. I mean, that's special. That's, Zonka and Bob Greasy to me.
Logo. It's the logo,
The logo is
the
great.
The old school Dolphin.
You're
Embrace
right.
it. The Dolphin wearing the helmet. He's ready to play.
You're
Put
right.
me in, coach.
He's ready to play ball. Let's go. That's when they were winning Super Bowls, is when they were wearing that. So I don't know. You're right. I'd probably, err on going back to that as well. But, really, Mike, I mean, we just talked about their team, and we kind of talked about them in pretty glowing fashion there. Like, what do you expect? They have a tough first 5 games, and my computer just crapped out on me, and I can't pull up the schedule right now. But I know it's tough because I remember. There we go.
There it is.
Look at that. Kristen on the spot. But what are you feeling from this team this year? You thinking playoffs for sure?
Well, we are going to learn a lot from them the first 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And, they go to London week 6.
Oh.
And they don't have a bye right after it. Peter King explained in Football Morning in America they didn't want a bye after it. They come back and they play the Falcons, who are coming off of a bye post their game in London. The Dolphins are one of the teams that have that very late Week 14 bye. But, yeah, we're going to find out a lot from them early. Now, it could be a thing where they kind of fall off, but then the schedule softens. Jaguars, Falcons, Texans, Jets, and maybe they make a run late. But, hey, that's not an easy schedule. I think that they're one of these teams that I'm going to be watching, though, to bust through to the playoffs, because every year there's turnover.
Yep.
There's 7 spots now, and this is a team that almost made it last year. It all comes down to Tua, though. This is either going to be Tua steps up and becomes the guy they thought he was going to be and matches Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, or the Dolphins decide after this year, let's use some of that draft capital that we continue to build, and let's go out and either trade for Deshaun Watson or maybe one of the other guys who ends up being disgruntled. But Deshaun Watson, I think, continues to be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And you still can't – think about this. How would you feel about the Dolphins if you found out by the 4th of July that they were trading for Deshaun Watson?
Oh, I mean, it's to me, then it's like, whoa, they could be a Super Bowl contender. I don't want to say it's like it's a Super Bowl contender, but I almost feel a little bit like Brady and the Bucks, a little bit like, whoa, the team's talented. Can they just come together, in time and get it all together in time to not lose too many games and still get in the playoffs, right? That's kind of how I would feel. I really would, but I would go, oh my gosh, watch out for the future, because I do think Miami's building something special, and I think you're right with the Tua thing. I don't ever like to put it all on the quarterback, but where I just put it on Tua here to your point is, they won so many games last year in a way where they had to manage the quarterback and manage the game perfectly. The defense had to play great. The special teams had to play great. Flores had those great blitzes he had for a while there. Remember where they went through that stretch of like Sean McVay and the Rams, and everybody was flustered by some of the things they were doing? It's just too hard to win like that on a week-to-week basis in the NFL. And that's where the quarterback can take pressure off of all of that, to where, okay, not everything has to be exactly perfect every week. And if Tua can do that, then I say, whoa, watch out, and Miami will be for real and in the playoffs.
And remember, if they would get Deshaun Watson, whoever gets him, he's looking at a suspension. Even if all the cases get resolved, the criminal investigation ends, he's still looking at something. And people around the league are thinking 4 to 6 games. So they'd have to get through that tough stretch to start the season without him. And who knows when they would even work him into the mix in 2021 if they end up trading for him. But whether it's this year or next year, they continue to be on that short list of teams that may end up with him, and that would change everything in Miami if it would happen. All right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.